What is going on, YouTube? This is the Just BSN podcast. We got episode 5 today. I am here with my boy Andrew. How are we feeling, dude? We just came off probably arguably the biggest Browns win that we've had since the playoff game a few years ago. Like that was a gigantic win for us.
Dude, it was more than just a gigantic win. Like, you just beat one of the only undefeated teams left in the NFL, a Super Bowl contending team, a team projected to probably win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, coming off of that kind of win with a third string quarterback and PJ Walker, who did really well. There's just not much more I could say. Like, that win was huge, especially for the season. That win was huge for the season.
Oh yeah,
You needed that badly.
absolutely. And obviously there was a very interesting duo in terms of winning that game last week, and it ended up being our running backs. Jerome Ford had a couple great runs at the end. Kareem Hunt kind of got it started a little bit. He obviously scored the only touchdown that we scored. When it seemed like the run game, Stefanski had a plan to use them, and it really seemed to pay off because it seemed to totally wear San Fran down throughout the game. But I mean, obviously the big hero here is that defense, and we've talked a lot about this defense. They proved something last week, man. They really did. They proved that our offense can struggle a little bit, and that defense can still keep us in to win the game. And they absolutely proved it by shutting down San Fran's run game. Obviously, CMC got hurt, so did Debo, and everybody, dude, in the media. My gosh, that's another other thing I want to talk about. The media did not like that we beat them, like at all.
No,
They
they hated
gave
it.
they gave San Fran every single excuse in the book, and everybody was like, "Well, what about us? We've been out without Chubb, Conklin, Watson. Um, we were out with Batonio as well, so we were out two of our starting 5 linemen." And we still beat you. Like they're at the end of the day, you can't make excuses. Football is football. You have to play the game regardless. Um, that pissed me off because I was really hoping that somebody in the media was going to be like, "All right, man, this Browns defense is crazy," especially after Whitner was calling our defense, what was it, fake or something that he said, or I forget the exact terminology he used, but there was a lot of actual motivation coming into that game, I think, for the Browns, and they really stepped up.
No, it is funny too because Dante Whitner played for the Browns defense not that long ago. It was only
Yeah.
6 or 7 years ago, or 10 years ago. He played. He was on this team for a little bit. So he should know what this team's about. He should know what defense they like to run. But like you said, dude, this defense was absolutely insane on Sunday. I mean, you held Brock Purdy under 200 passing yards. Hell, you held him under 150 passing yards. PJ Walker had more passing yards than Brock Purdy did.
Yeah.
And Christian McCaffrey only 11 carries for 43 yards. And you had Debo Samuel, who didn't do a damn thing, who had 0 catches and 0 yards. He only had 1 target, but again, he got injured in the middle of the game. But you held him to nothing. You got a pick off of Brock Purdy and a fumble off of Brock Purdy. And then Jerome Ford, 17 carries, almost 90 yards. I mean, what more can you? Obviously, Marquise Goodwin had that 1 carry for 20 yards, which is huge too.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I'm really glad that they started to bring him in, like into that, especially with Elijah really not seeming to fit that role. Let Goodwin do that because that's what he's known for anyway. Let him do it.
Yeah, and he's a lot faster than Elijah Moore too. He's got that speed. So no, just seeing him get that, because I was like, for a second, I thought it was Elijah Moore. I was like, oh man, look at Elijah Moore with that run. I was like, oh shit, it was Goodwin.
yeah, that's Goodwin. Holy crap!
I was like, oh, that's Goodwin. I was like, I haven't heard that name since like the Steelers game.
Yeah, and I also want to shout out a couple more unsung heroes, or at least within the media. Obviously we talked about Hunt and Ford. I talked earlier when we were on here. I am going to give my flowers this week to Jed Wills because he played a much better game. He still had some early mistakes that costed us. I believe it was a hold or a false start before PJ's second pick that he threw late in that game that almost had us lost that game. Doing stuff like that it has been kind of the theme for Jed this year, but he ended up ending the game pretty well. He was actually finishing blocks, which was a sight for sore eyes because we've seen him so many times, walk and watch people go by him. He seemed like he was a little pissed off, and he finally used it for good. So I want to
Yeah.
give him his, flowers as well. But this defense, man, JOK is continuing week after week to literally look like one of the best linebackers in the league right now. The dude looks so controlled. He looks confident. He's not playing too fast, but he's playing his speed. Like he's finally using his speed for good, and he's not blowing by people. He has just made so many plays. What do you think about JOK right now? Because he's been my favorite so far this year to watch.
Yeah, dude, he's been one of my favorites too. I mean, 3 solo tackles, 5 total, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 pass deflection with 2 QB hits is insane.
Yeah.
Against that 49ers offensive line too. Like that's nuts. That he was able to just to get past offensive line and just consistently get to Brock Purdy and just disrupt every play. And again, he had a couple pass deflections. He had so much going on for him. Like he was just super disruptive. And one of the more disruptive players on the defensive front this past weekend. So, I mean, I think he continues that success going forward. And JOK is probably going to be, besides Miles, obviously besides the normal Miles, the Darius Smith and stuff like that. I think JOK is going to be one of the other top defensive players that we've had this season. And also, too, I want to give my flowers to Martin Emerson, who had 2 pass deflections and his first pick of his career,
Big
too.
pick that really changed the pace of that game. That really
For
put the
sure.
momentum in our favor.
And yeah, dude, if he wasn't already playing well, that's just another boost of confidence for him
Yeah.
too. Just getting that pick and his first one of his career, and I mean, he's been having a hell of a season to begin with as well. So Martin Emerson, he deserves every credit he gets, and he's going to be huge for this going forward, and especially this weekend coming to Indianapolis when you play against Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, with him too, Emerson has had a lot of really tough players
Matchups, yeah.
to go up against. I mean, he had D Hop in week 3. He's obviously had Jamar and Higgins. Uh, it's really nice when you can trust all 3 of your corners to literally cover anybody that they need to. And it kind of helps them stay
Mm.
on one side of the field and just say, "Hey, just go cover." And I think that's a huge benefit for us too. Our DBs are playing out of their mind, and I also want to talk about something that's very, I think, big for this team. Juan Thornhill, his leadership has been incredible. Like
Yeah.
I think the whole team is really rallying around him right now, especially those DBs. They have the most swag I think any team has right now, and that's not discredited editing the good teams right now, but they have them as confident as ever, and it started with him. And I think that signing is going to go a long way, especially also signing McLeod as well, who also played great last week. Had a couple
Led the team in tackles, yeah.
had a couple really good run stops right at the line. Like we were changing the line of scrimmage, and Dan Orlovsky went over that on Monday, and Dan was the only one that was speaking so highly of us, which is one of the reasons why I like to watch him because he's very unbiased. He just likes to go with, "Hey, this is what happened, and these guys changed the game."
Mm.
Miles Garrett was throwing around Trent Williams. I
That's
mean,
insane that he actually threw him.
saying that like he did that, and like it's not insane for us because we know Miles and
Yeah.
how fucking strong the dude is, but to see him do that and people are going, "Whoa!" Like, okay, Miles is strong, strong. It's like we've known this for a while, but here it is, like live, and he really didn't struggle, against Trent. Obviously we didn't really create too many sacks, but like I think getting sacks is not the biggest part of what being a DN is nowadays. Like I think the pass rush rate is much more of a bigger deal. Like getting to the quarterback, even though you're not getting a sack, you're pressuring him. I mean, we pressured Purdy. I think he dropped back like 30 something times. I think we got to him over half. I think it was like 19 of like 36 times or something stupid, or 26 out of 30. It was something nuts. I know that.
Mm.
Um, when you can do that as an entire team, that benefits you tremendously. And now the Browns have another opportunity to do that with a Colts team that has kind of struggled since Anthony Richardson has got hurt. So now he has Gardner, and he's a pretty good quarterback, but we definitely have some things going for us right now, especially coming off a huge win. You got to take that and carry that momentum. And it sounds like Watson might play. What do you think about that? Do you think Watson should play? Do you think, or I should say, do you think he plays? And then if he does, do you think he should play, or do you think he should wait one more week?
I think with the direction the Browns are going, he did practice. I mean, he had what was it, half a practice or limited practice on Wednesday. I didn't see Thursday or Friday if he practiced in full or if he was just
He did.
limited all.
He did.
It was full practice for both days.
Yep.
So if it's full practice for both days, I think he goes on Sunday.
Yeah.
I think what they do is they don't make him do a whole lot. I think you see a lot of run scheme in this game since we talked earlier. They lost one of their best run stoppers for this weekend.
Yeah.
So I do think you see a lot of the run happen this weekend. But also, too, I think you see him throw a lot of dink and dunk passes, a lot of 10-yard screen or a lot of screens, a lot of 10-yard passes and stuff like that. I don't think he goes too crazy with Deshaun Watson.
No.
I think, in my opinion, I would sit him one more week just to make sure you get him fully healthy for next weekend against Seattle, because I think that's a bigger game to worry about. So I would have rather him wait one more game and go with PJ Walker again for a second straight week, because PJ had a great game against San Francisco, one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I would trust PJ to go one more week, especially if you just run the ball a whole lot. I'd rather have PJ go than try and risk Deshaun Watson and he gets sacked or hit or something. And next thing you know, he's out for 5 more weeks and you need him back better than ever. So I'd rather him be close to 100% as he can going into Seattle rather than trying to immediately throw him in there once he's available and, just risking his availability for the rest of the season. So that's just me, though. I'm sure everyone else is like, oh, they're excited that Deshaun's back and they want him back like now. And we all know what we think of those kinds of people.
Yeah. But I think what would help PJ and why I am also leaning towards wanting to sit him out one more week is PJ is going to be able to play in a dome like we're going to Indy.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty level playing field. The weather isn't going to be a factor. Last week the weather played a factor, and that's probably why San Fran did not play as well. And I will give them that. But at the same time, it's football, baby. That's what that's for. Like, you got to play it sometimes. And when you come to Cleveland, good luck kicking, good luck passing. Like it's not always fun.
Anytime in October or after October, if you come to Cleveland, you have to be ready because the weather's going to be dog shit the entire time.
Yeah, and I mean, Jake Moody is a great kicker. Like, there's a reason that they drafted him, and he missed 2 field goals, including that one at the end.
His poor family had to witness that too.
Yeah, his entire family was there. I feel like really bad for him. Like, that sucks. Like, that really sucks. And I hope that kid doesn't like get his confidence absolutely destroyed, because kicking in Cleveland is very hard. And even Phil Dawson said you almost can't even use the flags on the field goal because like it's not always going to be accurate.
No.
It's not always going to be accurate anyway, because the wind gusts are so quick and so like
it bursts.
You cannot time it up. Like, anything coming off that lake is just, it's almost impossible to try to predict.
And from what I've heard too, the way that the stadium is built, the stadium doesn't go in like one direction and stays in that one direction. It swirls inside the stadium. So it goes in every which direction. It goes forward, backwards, left, right. I mean, it's just everywhere. So the wind direction, as soon as you, like, it can be different from when you're holding the football and as you're getting ready to kick it to when the ball's in the air and the wind's like, oh, it's shift. And next thing you know, it's gone the other way. And you're like, wait, what the hell just happened? And I believe Cleveland was ranked number 1 in one of the most difficult stadiums to kick in. Like, we were the top stadium as the most difficult.
Yeah.
So if you have a game-winning field goal, it doesn't matter if you're 40 yards out or 35 yards out. It's going to be very, very difficult to make that kick. It's going to have to be perfect, like perfect, if you want to make it.
and especially if you don't have the experience, previously to know, like, okay, this is what's going to happen. Let's try to, hook it this way or try to have it lean a little bit this way because Hopkins, I mean, he only missed the one, and it was at the very beginning. He adjusted, and he didn't miss since. And
Wasn't
there's a
wasn't it Dustin Hopkins too that gave us our first win when we were going to go 0-16 the first time and we went 1-15? Wasn't it Dustin Hopkins who missed that with the Chargers because we beat San Diego or we beat the Chargers in that game?
it might have been.
I think Dustin Hopkins was the kicker that missed the game winner.
It might have been. I actually I want to look at that.
Because I think it was him who kicked that field goal and he missed it. And then now it's funny because he's in Cleveland now, and it's like I've learned from that mistake. I learned from last time that this stadium is hard, so I gotta learn to kick in this place if I'm gonna be here full time. But it was funny because and that just popped into my brain. I was like, was it him that missed it? And was it 2015 or 2016? Or
2016.
It was
Yeah,
2016. Yeah, it's like, was it him that missed that field goal that won them the game, and he missed, and we won?
Yeah, that was dude. That's crazy too, because that was still when Philip fucking Rivers and Antonio Gates were playing. Antonio Gates was their leading receiver. Behind
That's
him,
insane.
guess who? Okay, guess who was the next leading receiver for him that day?
Oh my God, Keenan.
No, not anybody that you would think.
So it's not Keenan
starts
Mike
with.
Williams.
No, it's Travis Benjamin.
Travis Benjamin. Oh, I forgot about him.
He
I
had
forgot he was a Charger.
He had 3 catches for 75 yards,
Oh
and
my
then
God.
Tyrell Williams had
Yeah, Tyrell
64
Williams.
yards.
I
They
forgot about
still
Travis Benjamin.
they had Kenneth Farrow as their running back. He had 28 yards that day because that was a rough game. Where is their kicker? Was Josh Lambo.
Josh
That's who he
Lambo.
was.
Okay.
It was not Hopkins, thankfully. So we don't
Thankfully.
have to shit on him today for that.
Former MLS goalkeeper Josh Lambo.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Jeez, man, that's crazy to think about.
And Aubrey, the kid in Dallas, is an MLS player too. He got drafted like 2 years ago to the MLS, and
he's been killing it on my fantasy team, man. He's on he's on the bye week this week, and I didn't even drop him. That's how good he's been.
Yeah, I forget what I think it was like a first or second round draft pick in the MLS, and I think he got cut or something. And he's like, and his girlfriend said, "Hey, why don't you try on the NFL as a kicker?" He's like, "You played professional soccer." He's like,
"Yeah,
what makes you think you can't play professional football as a kicker?" And so he didn't. Now look at him; he's a baller in Dallas. Leave it to your girlfriend to give you the idea to be an NFL kicker.
Oh yeah, 100%. But according to the rumors that I have heard over the last 24 hours, it does sound like Deshaun is going to play. It sounds like they are basically just wanting to see how he feels leading into today, and if he's still feeling good from today into the morning, he's pretty much going to play. Is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Which again, like, hindsight, obviously we can't make those decisions. I wish we could. Otherwise, I think our team would be so much better. But regardless, if Watson does play, you are back to where you were beforehand, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And it could end up sort of benefiting him. The only thing that I don't trust on our team still is obviously Jed Wells. I just don't want him to get Watson killed, and I hope that there's legit conversation of that this week within the building saying, hey, finish your blocks, stay on your blocks, do not get Watson hurt. We are going to try to mediate that and make it be a lot of dinks and donks and just let him get into a rhythm and run the ball. So we're not going to do what we did a few weeks ago and get our quarterback hurt, because we have a nice stretch at the end of this year that we've talked about so many times already. We cannot mess that up. Cannot.
Yeah, we cannot mess up what we have going on right now. Like, going to the schedule, I mean, you have Indianapolis coming up, which Indianapolis is struggling a lot. You have Seattle, Arizona, before you play the Ravens and the Steelers again back-to-back weeks. And that will finish up with the Ravens and the Steelers, and one away in Baltimore and the other at home against Pittsburgh. And then you got that nice run of like Denver, LA, Jacksonville, Chicago, Houston, Jets, before you play the Bengals again for the final game of the season. So you got
Mhm.
a nice stretch going for you. Like
Mhm.
you have to take advantage of this as much as possible. And this is why I wanted Deshaun to kind of like sit against Indianapolis because I
Yeah.
want him for these stretches. Like I want him against Seattle. I want him against the Ravens. I want him against the Steelers.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to trust PJ Walker for those games. Like, don't get me wrong, PJ balled out, but I don't have to trust him for a lot of what we got going on for the majority of the season.
Right.
So I'd rather Deshaun sit one more week and say, hey, look, now my shorter field is really good. I can throw a little bit deeper now. I can make some deep shots.
Mhm.
And if we need, which I still don't want to take too many deep shots. I know that's Kevin Stefanski's, kind of go-to style is deep shot after deep shot after deep shot. But
Yeah.
I just don't want him to jack up his shoulder even more
Yeah.
and trying to do so many deep shots. And so maybe this will teach Kevin Stefanski to adjust and learn to do more short up the middle throws and just slowly move the ball downfield.
Yeah, because I mean, realistically, like I really don't want Watson to throw the ball more than like 25 times. To be
No.
perfectly honest with you, there's just no reason for it.
And if Stefanski is smart, he'll put Deshaun Watson on a throw limit.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, Walker threw the ball 34 times last week.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna throw a lot, but I don't in this world I don't see where you have a little tear in your shoulder and your throwing shoulder where you're gonna throw the ball more than 25 times. Because
Right.
if you do, then that's not good. If you're gonna
Right.
throw more than 25 times, because he's gonna hurt that shoulder even more if you the more the season goes on if you keep doing that. So I would say limit him to like 20, like you said, 20 to 25 throws and just run the hell out of the ball. You have Jerome Ford had 85 yards on the ground against one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Right.
Let him cook. Let Kareem Hunt cook. I mean, even if you need to do what you did with the Kareem Hunt touchdown, put fucking Brian in there as quarterback and let him toss it out to Kareem Hunt, which that threw me off. I'm sure it threw off everybody.
Yeah, that was a very neat design for us. But I mean, man, I just don't want Watson to get more hurt. Obviously, I think we all have a little bit of PTSD after 2021 with Baker and
I
him just
know.
dealing with that shoulder the entire year. Like I mean, it pretty much ruined his whole next year too because he was so off. Like he needed time to get his rhythm, and he finally looked human again last week for Tampa Bay. And
Yeah.
I heard he heard or hurt his hand or something too during that game. But yeah, I don't want Watson to get more and more hurt, which is why I'm definitely cool if he sits out one more game, and I think they should still prepare for that.
Mhm.
Because I mean I don't know if you've seen the clips of him throwing the ball. It seems like it feels okay, but it just looks a tad bit different than his usual motion.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's by design or if that's just what's being comfortable for him right now.
I think
And
that's what's most comfortable for him because that's probably the throwing style that doesn't hurt his shoulder.
yeah,
And we saw there's no zip on the ball.
yeah.
There's it's more of lofted passes than zips.
Hmm.
And
Yesterday's looked a little bit better because they
they
were
had
doing
some
a little
zip
more
into
goal
it.
line. Yeah, they were doing a lot more like goal line stuff too, like 2-minute warning
And if you
stuff.
want to, and the thing is too, if you want him to play, like you start PG Walker, and if you want Deshaun in more of the goal line situations, you can put Deshaun in for the goal line situation because Deshaun's a lot better of a runner than PJ Walker.
Yeah,
So if you want Deshaun, put him in the goal line and let him have a couple carries at the goal line, or let him run the goal line offense. But I wouldn't do much more than that. Like if once you get to the 20 and you're first and goal and stuff like that, you're in the red zone. I'll let Deshaun Watson be a red zone quarterback tomorrow or on Sunday
damn.
more than him being the full on starter.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. We will see.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I mean, PJ. It was very interesting. He didn't play a bad game. Like he made two
No.
bad throws. The first one was kind of bang bang, and like obviously he's going to be a little rusty. The other pick that he threw, he should not have thrown that ball, but he knew it.
Yeah.
Like as soon as he threw it, he knew it. Like he's a smart guy, but he still kept us in the game, and like
Yeah.
that's what I appreciated about PJ was even though the stats didn't really add up, like he didn't totally keep us out of the game where it seemed like DTR, against the Ravens. He kept us out of the game, and he kept the defense on the field for way too long. And I think the defense's mentality going into this week was, hey, F that. We are going to be the ones that just doesn't let San Fran stay on the field and
Yeah.
sustain drives. Like, let's get them out on third and, 3 and outs. And we did that. We put Brock Purdy in absolute hell. And
Yeah.
I mean, when you have guys like, Garrett and Za'Darius off the edges, but also like even our interior D lineman, man, like Tomlinson has been playing out of his mind. Maurice Hurst has been one of the highest graded defensive tackles so far this year. He's been a great addition, and he was a very small signing for us, and really was a bubble guy during a training camp. And
Mhm.
even Elliott has been playing a little bit better, which finally, I mean, after like 3 or 4 years of having him, finally Elliott is starting to play a little better. Um, Jim Schwartz, man, he has this defense so locked in and so confident. Like they literally feel like they can go out and beat anybody. And it's been a while since we've had that mentality in the building. And I think that's so damn refreshing. Like, thank God for Jim Schwartz, man. Shout
Thank
out to Jim
God.
Schwartz.
We needed him so bad.
Oh, we did. And now you're seeing Joe Wood struggle with with the Saints. They keep blowing games. They keep losing games. Like they could have won on Thursday, and
Yeah.
they choked it. They gave uh Christian Kirk a bomb, which was great for my fantasy team, but not so great for them. And it just stinks that we didn't get rid of Joe Woods a lot sooner, because
Yeah.
I mean we can argue and say after we lost to the Chiefs in 2021, at that time in the playoffs, we could have easily just canned him then, because he blew that game single-handedly for us, like, many times throughout that game, and it was one of those, like, "Man, like, come on," but it was a fresh it was a fresh staff, and we're like, "You know what? Let's give it one more go," and then 2021 season hit, and it was a disaster. Like, that was Baker's year,
And
and
we lost a lot of those games by less. So a lot of those games we
Mhm.
lost less than a touchdown.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, dude, all you had to do is just attack the quarterback, stop playing this prevent defense or whatever zone defense you have going on out there, and just attack the quarterback. And next thing you know, he's just like, nah, I'm gonna give up 30 yards up the middle.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm gonna give up another 30 yards up the middle. Nah, I'm gonna give up a 40-yard bomb for a tutty.
Nah, I'm gonna play, a very conservative zone on 3rd and short. Like, that oh
Yeah.
my gosh, how many times we would just be texting and be like, "Dude, what the
Third, third,
fuck is Woods doing?"
33? Yeah, soft zone.
Soft zone, like, we're not even gonna put our corners in a position to be successful, and, like, that dude, that's the crazy part, is during that era of Joe Woods, our corners did not look as good as they
No.
are looking now, because we are playing literally, like, over 70% of our defensive snaps are all in man coverage, and,
Yeah.
like, it's a no-brainer, I think, like, when you look at that defensive, backfield and you say, "Hey, we're gonna put you in zone," you're freaking stupid. These guys are literal man to man coverage guys. That's why you brought them in. Like,
They're great one-on-ones.
yeah, like let them do their thing. Like, let them be dogs, and then let the rest of the defense dictate what the quarterback is going to do.
Yeah.
Because if you can lock down your corner or your uh, wide receivers as a corner, like you're already winning that battle anyway. Because with the defensive line, like we have, and just the scheme that we run, I mean, we're bringing pretty much 5 guys almost every snap, and which means somebody is going to come free, which means somebody is going to uh, help that quarterback make a much earlier throw than he wants to make, and that can cause for more turnovers. And that's what I want to see out of this defense now too. let's get some more turnovers. Like let's win the the turnover battle. We still have not done that. We've not won the turnover battle so far this year in any of our games. Even in the Tennessee game, we didn't. So let's work on that. And sky's the limit for this team, and that was such a huge win. And we talked about that a few weeks ago where we said, hey, winning this game would be interesting because it's a really like first, stepping stone of saying, okay, this is where this team is at. And we did it without Watson and Chubb. Like, that is the craziest part about that. We thought that this game was going to be somewhat close because, our defense was still good, but ultimately San Fran was going to outdo us and wear us down. And that just was not the case. I think we did that
Yeah.
to them, if anything.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the defensive rankings right now through week 6. Total defense, Browns, number 1, only allowing 200 yards on average, which is ridiculous. Passing defense, number 1, only 120 yards allowed on passing. Rushing, number 3, with only 79 yards allowed rushing. Scoring defense, 5th. We only allow 15.5 points per game.
Yeah.
Red zone defense, this is where we kind of tank a little bit. We're 26 at 66%.
It's probably because of the Ravens game, be honest.
Yeah.
I bet you that's why.
Third down defense, number 1, only allowing 23% conversions on third down.
Man.
The next team is the Saints with 35 or 31. And that defense, those defensive stats are ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Ridiculous.
That's insane to think about. Like, it's been a very, 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 very long time.
Only 200 yards per game allowed by the defense. 200 yards. You probably get 200 yards in a full quarter. Not in a full quarter, but like in a full half.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's insane.
Man, that's absurd. It really is absurd. And everybody does see that Andrew was struggling. So be nice to him because he's dealing with that today.
No,
I can hear it in your voice, man. You're killing it.
For the last 5 days, I've been dealing with this cold that just would not go away. And I've been taking NyQuil day and night, and it just won't get out of my system. So
Mucinex, baby, dude, Mucinex helps.
I've been taking Mucinex. I've been taking everything.
Yeah, dude, it helps.
It just won't exit.
It like so the Mucinex will help break it up a little bit and spit it all out. So after the podcast, like spit all of that shit out. Don't let it sit. But
dude, that's what I'm doing. Like
this weather sucks, man. Like
this Ohio weather, man, it's terrible.
Dude, like last weekend, towards the end of last weekend, my throat was just getting sore because I was just phlegmy as hell and just spitting it out. It's gross, I know, like TMI, but like
I feel it.
And then you're sitting there like, man, my throat's sore, and so I went out and got Halls because obviously Halls are the best for me, for me at least.
For me, I love Halls; they're great for me.
And I could only get the biggest freaking bag they had, guys. I only could find the 140 piece. So I tried so hard to get the small one, and then I came in, and my roommate was like, "Why do you have so many cough drops?" And I was like, "It's the only bag they had. Like, I should have went somewhere else, but it's the only bag they had, and I needed some." And those are a lifesaver too, man. Like especially if your throat's sore, man, those are great.
It's just I'm just congested like up here, and that's literally all that's killing me. And like I spent the whole week just like draining it out of me, and I'm still like I still got like a little bit like I feel better, but I still got that little bit that's still like an annoyance that just won't drain, or like it's like it drains, but then it gets like stuck in my throat, and you can hear me talk, and it's like, hey, how's it going? Like,
it's gonna be fun when so I'm going down to Columbus here on I think it's November 11th is the game against Michigan State, and I hope it's not going to be too cold, but it is going to be a night game, and I'm so excited for that. That is going to be a fun game. Now, listen, if we lose today, it's going to be a little bit harder to like enjoy that game, but it's a night game. Like a night game in college football, you literally can't beat it, and I bet it'll be a blackout. Like I bet you it's going to be a blackout. or something, because they always have blackouts on night games, or at least like one game a year. We have not done that yet. So I do expect it to be like somewhat of a cooler night.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, I'm just excited, but I'm also excited about today's game. Let's talk about that a little bit before we get into this week's Browns game. Ohio State and Penn State. That is, I'm pretty sure that's college game day of the week, and I don't see why
It
it wouldn't
is.
be. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be. It's 3 versus 7. Like, this is a top 10 matchup today, and there's a couple of guys injured for Ohio State today. It's going to be interesting, but our offense looked great last week. Purdue, we talked about it as one of those teams that is sort of a trap team. They always seem to just play well against us, and we took care of business. Like, we did not struggle that much on offense. We were missing 3 of our top 4 running backs,
Mhm.
and even Abuka, I think, got hurt or was hurt. So we were not fully equipped, and we still beat them pretty handily. So I think having a game like that brings some more confidence to McCord. But he also has a big win against Notre Dame under his belt as well this year. I don't see why he can't go in and really stick it to Penn State. But Penn State's going to be coming. I know that for a fact. They're going to be coming at us
Mhm.
hard, and it is not going to be an easy matchup. How do you think this is going to go?
It's going to be a very difficult matchup. I think it's going to be a close matchup. I
Me
think it's
too.
going to be. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think the line was set at 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
So they're predicting it's going to be close, or Vegas at least is predicting it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close. The game time weather is going to be 57 degrees. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cloudy. It's going to be maybe a little wet. We'll see. It's partly cloudy right now down there. I'm actually headed to Columbus today, not for the reasons you want it to be, not for Ohio State, Penn State, but for other reasons. Columbus Crew versus Montreal.
Yes, sir.
Decision day in the MLS.
Yes, sir.
Final game of the season for every MLS team in the league. But that's the reason why I'm going to Columbus. I'm not going to Columbus for Ohio State, although I
Right.
wish I was, because this would be an insane game to go to.
Oh yeah, and they're at Penn, at Penn State, I think today. So
They're in
I mean,
Columbus.
are they in Columbus?
It's Ohio State. They're in Ohio State.
Okay, well, you know what? Honestly, that helps us in our favor.
That's a big.
I genuinely thought we were at Penn State this year.
No,
Which I was,
that's why Ohio State. That's why the Ohio State's the favorites right now.
yeah,
It's because we're at Ohio Stadium. We're in Ohio State, so
yeah.
But this is the first tough test for Penn State. They've only played Delaware, Illinois, Iowa, Northwestern, and UMass. So this is the first test that Penn State has seen is against us.
That's true. Yeah,
So I
that's
think
very
that's
true.
one of the reasons why we're heavily favored in this matchup, because we've already had a tough test against Notre Dame and we won that game. And so I think the bookies, Vegas, and stuff like that are like, listen, Ohio State already had a true test early this season, and they passed the test.
Yeah,
They won that test. Kyle McCord looked good in that test.
yeah.
So this is Penn State's first real big game of their season. They're away at Ohio State. Can their defense really shine? Can
Mhm.
this offense really shine? Or are they a phony 7? And I'm not going to say they are, just because they are a really good football program and always a good football team. So I'm not going to say they're phony, but we've seen in the past where Penn State, Michigan State, that when they were good, and they're like, oh, we're going to Ohio State. We're undefeated. Ohio State's undefeated. This is going to be a good close game. And, Ohio State dropped 60 on them because it was the first real test that those teams had was against Ohio State that day. And it's like, well, you're going up against a real offense and a real defense, so you have to play. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're going to get your shit smoked.
Yeah, I mean, really, for me, I am just going to look for McCord to continue playing better, but
Yeah.
also getting the ball out quickly. Penn State's defense, DT defensive line is pretty solid,
Yeah.
and their offense is really solid too. Like it's going to be a very, I would say, sort of identical game to what we played versus ND earlier
Yeah.
this year. It's going to be a tough battle. Like I really think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. Who has the ball last, sort of deal. But if Ohio State can just get off to an early, quick start and just
Set the pace.
that, but also punch Penn State in the mouth a little bit, shock them a little
Yeah.
bit, and say like, "Whoa, like this is our, this really is our first test." Like, if you can sort of rattle them early, it'll take them a while to come back, and if that's the case, you have the opportunity to keep piling on and pouring it on.
If you can get up to a quick 2-score lead, just sucker punch them really quick. Just be like, all right, we're already up 14-0. Like, are you gonna do anything now?
Mhm. And obviously, Ibuka and I think it's Williams are both questionable. Henderson is out. Chip is expected to play. I think there was one more guy that is also uh, expected to play as well, which is good because we definitely need Chip. Although Hayden looked good last week, he still has some growing up to do. He was not perfect in terms of pass blocking during that game. And but the kid can run, and if that's all you need him to do, then let him do it. But I'm really not
Yeah.
worried about Ibuka being out because I mean we just have so many wide receivers, and I would really love, like absolutely love to see Tate Martell play. That kid is a freshman, and he's been talked about so heavily here, and we haven't really seen a lot of him because he's obviously got three guys, above him that are really, really talented. Um, but after Marvin and Ibuka go this year, and even Jordan, because I'm pretty sure Fleming is like a fifth-year senior or something, so it's going to be almost a whole new core next year, and he's probably going to be the guy leading that. So if you can give him a chance to play, in this game, I think it's a good game for him to kind of introduce himself to the nation and to Buckeye Nation as one of our up and coming wide receivers.
Yeah. And I'm just looking at the article from 2 days ago about the running backs. And Day says that there's a good chance that the 300 running backs are going to be available on Saturday.
Hmm.
So he's saying there's a chance that all three could be available. So we might see. I mean, I would still say that Trevion's out. I'd still say that mine's doubtful
Yeah,
or more of like a game time decision. But I would expect Chip Trainum to play. I think he's going to be fully healthy and ready to go.
absolutely.
And Dallin Hayden wasn't bad either. He had what it was 11 carries. It's in this article too. He had 11 carries for 77 yards and a tutty.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like he was bad either. He was really good for 10 carries for almost 80 yards and a touchdown. Like that's really good for a second year player.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely. And I mean, honestly, I think the run game is going to be what's going to shine the most today anyway.
yeah,
I really think like anytime Ohio State seems to have a tough, matchup like this, they really like to set the pace and run the ball well. And every time we've done that, the real game that comes to mind for me was a few years ago when we played Michigan, and this is like probably 3 or 4 years ago because this is still when we had Fields. We obviously didn't win with CJ, but I just remember I think that was when we were 1 versus 2, or it was like 1 versus 3, and Michigan was the top, run defense, defensive team, and it was just everybody's like, man, this is going to be a tough matchup, and we just ran the ball down their throats, and we've done
yeah.
that to Penn State as well on many occasions. They've always come in and been like a top 10, run defense, and we've just absolutely smoked them in the run game every single time. Um, so as long as the O line stays, locked in, you know, I don't see why we can't. But that's the one downside with Ohio State this year is they have a new O line.
Mhm.
They lost both tackles and their snapper. So I mean, it's going to take some time to adjust like that. But it seems like they're finally getting into a rhythm now with it. Which is good for not only them but also for guys like McCord. So I'm very curious, man. I'm very excited to see what this game is going to be for us. I don't know how much of the game I'm going to catch because I have a lot of stuff to do today. But
I'll be on the road to Columbus when the
yeah,
game's
like
going.
it's like I have. It seems like every weekend as of the last like few weeks, I've been so busy. That's why we're. I mean, that's why we're doing this at freaking 10 o'clock in the morning right now. Starting at 9:30 this morning. because we both just have a crazy schedule. So we might adjust our days as to what day we do record from now on, just to kind of help alleviate that. We'll see. But that is something
I
that.
Also, I do have the injury report for the Ohio State Buckeyes
Okay,
as of
cool.
1 hour ago. So questionable. Amika Abuka is the only one
Yeah.
listed as questionable. The only one. Out. Nolan Boado, Denzel Burke, Timothy Caffey, Kyon Gaines, Trevion Henderson's also out today.
Yeah, he is.
Zach Herbstreit, Joe Royer, Will Smith, Reese Stocksdale, and Court Williams II is a list of injuries. So only one question was Amika Abuka. So it sounds like Mine Williams is available today. Same with Chip Trainum. So those guys will be in today, it seems like.
Yeah.
So you got at least two of your running backs back.
Yeah, alone Chip alone is
Is a
going to be
stud.
able to hold. I mean, he's going to be able to hold the fort
Yeah.
down. I mean, I've really liked what I've seen from him. So I had no problem with him being,
But you're just missing
running
the
back
big
one today.
two. You're
Yeah,
just missing the main two, Denzel Burke and Trevion Henderson.
yeah, and that's fine with me. And I think Burke is a corner. I don't think he's a running back.
Yeah, he's a corner, but again, he's a big piece of that defense too.
He is, and like that's one thing that we haven't really had like a. I feel like we really haven't had a true like CB1 in quite a while as
Yeah.
well. So that's another thing I hope that Ohio State gets to finally get back, because we used to be DBU for a minute. Like we had
100%.
Marshawn Lattimore back there. Obviously Ward was was a part of that. Garyon Conley was really good in college. Like we had so many great players that we just have not had on defense though, of the last few years. And really
But today I think is going to be a true test for Penn State. I think it's going to be another true test for Kyle McCord to see if he can really handle his situation, handle his shit. I like what we did last week with Devin Brown in the red zone and utilize him as more of like a red zone quarterback and just allowing him to run the football and do what the Saints do with Taysom Hill and just use him as like a wildcat quarterback or use him as like a wildcat option. And even too, like if he needs to throw in that situation or pitch it out or run. I mean, he is a quarterback, so same with Taysom Hill. He's a quarterback, so they know how to do that stuff. They know how to make throws and stuff like that. They know how to get out of this situation. So I kind of like to. I think we're going to see more of that. And I think that might also be a massive key for the Buckeyes too. Is like maybe taking McCord out of the red zone and allowing Devin Brown to come in and be kind of like a running back / quarterback option.
Yep.
And
RPOs, man, baby. I
RPOs.
love our RPOs. I want to see the Browns do that more. But
and it works, and it's worked a lot. So
Yeah.
it worked a lot last week. They ran those RPOs, and Devin Brown had a couple touchdowns.
I mean, and that can be your version of the. I don't know if you recall the Florida Gators team back. I think that was 06 or 07 when they killed us. But that was like Tim Tebow's like first like year. I think he was a freshman at that time. So they had that other quarterback. I forget what the hell his name was. It was like something Leak or something. I mean, God, 2006. I was like what, 11 or something. I don't know. I was pretty young then, so I don't recall the whole game. But they were really good that year, and like that can be your version of that. If you really wanted to do that, if you really wanted to do that weird little like Tebow shovel pass that he's done a few times in college as well. Like if you want to do that with Brown, you have that option. But also like Brown's a bigger kid too, so he can take the ball and run it. Like I think that's a great idea. I don't know why it took them this long to be like, hey, you know what? Let's do this. Like let's include you guys both. To where like McCord is the clear starter and he's the clear better passer. That's not even a debate anymore.
No, it's not a debate at all.
But in that red zone, like you then give the team more options in that red zone to be a little more flexible.
You could use Devin Brown, and like I said, you could use Devin Brown as a Taysom Hill. You could use him as a Swiss Army knife, and you could use him as a running back. You could use him as a receiver, as a quarterback. You can run RPOs. You got so many, and I think you're gonna I think you're gonna see that a lot today because Penn State's not gonna be ready for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't see how they'll stop it. So
no. And then going back to the Browns, I found this tweet today. Who's going to be out versus us for the Colts? The Colts are now going to be out without their starting right tackle and one of their starting tight ends as well. So that is going to be a little rough for them too. I actually now hearing that, I'm hoping Zadarius Smith gets his first sack of the year because I don't think he has a sack yet this year.
I don't
He's
think he
been,
does either.
I mean, he's been getting a lot of UB hits, and he's been a good run stopper for us as well. But I think I can almost guarantee he's going to get a sack this week because, I mean, missing your right tackle, that's big. Like that's not going to be good for them, especially with it, with this team. I also look for JOK to be a guy that gets another sack. It's going to be fun. Like the Browns definitely have another opportunity to win this game and win it pretty easily because the Eagles, or not the Eagles, the Colts really struggled last week with Gardner, and they just couldn't get the ball rolling on offense. They couldn't even get Jonathan Taylor off. If you are starting Jonathan Taylor in any league right now, I would try to sit him because I really don't think he's going to do much against us this week.
No, I don't think so either. And with what you were saying with the Colts offense, they're starting to miss a lot of their offense now. Like you said, their tight end is now out, their right tackle's now out, Anthony Richardson's now out for probably the rest of the season. So you have to roll with Gardner Minshew the whole way now, and their defense isn't standalone that fantastic. Their defense is probably bottom 10 of the NFL, if I had to guess, or probably bottom 5 of the NFL. So it's not like their defense is superb and they could keep. So it could go either two ways. It could be like we discussed with the 49ers game. It could be a trap game for us, or it could be really the game that turned into Baltimore against the Browns a few weeks ago, where Baltimore just curb stomped the hell out of us, and we just do the same to Indianapolis, and we just curb stomp the hell out of them. And so, I mean, those are the only two ways I can see it going. But it just seems like more like every day as we're getting closer to Sunday tomorrow, that they're just missing more and more offensive pieces. And now it's just Gardner Minshew, and it's not like Jonathan Taylor has done anything the past 2 games.
No, that does, probably not because Taylor just signed a huge deal before he came back. But I did want to talk a little bit about trade deadline at some point. Now we are a little bit away from that. I think we're another few more weeks away from the trade deadline. But
end of the month. Ends on the 31st. There's 31 months in October, right?
Yeah.
So it's the last day of October. It's the end of the deadline.
So literally Halloween. Oh shit.
So Halloween's the day of the deadline.
Okay, that's going to be interesting. So yeah, we got next week to worry about that then, because that is going to be a conversation. I think the Browns are going to be looking to improve in some ways, and we've obviously talked about how we would like to move on from Jed Wills. Maybe that happens. Maybe they add another wide receiver. I sadly think that DPJ could be on the out. Because he just hasn't done anything for us. We haven't really gotten in the ball, and like when we've gotten in the ball, he's made his he's caught the ball
plays,
and he's done fine. But again, like if we're not going to use him and we know we're going to lose him next year, we might as well just sell him and see what you get out of him. Whether
you
you
can
go
sell him
for
high
picks,
too.
Yeah, so like it's regardless if you go out for picks or not. Like he's basically a cheap rental this year for teams that could really use a like legit wide receiver. Like I would not mind us switching out him for like Jerry Jeudy or or somebody crazy, which is like thinking really, really high because I don't think they would just do that.
No.
But Denver is a team that I am definitely going to look to because they're going to be sellers. Like they are going to be looking to blow up some of that defense because it sounds like they're going to move on from their D coordinator. Sounds like Rex Ryan is going to be the next DC there, which is very interesting to me. I don't know how anybody feels about that down there, but the league this year has been very intriguing. Like even for example, Houston's been a good team this year. Like CJ Stroud's look great, their defense looks better. Like they're literally a few more pieces away from being like a legit team in the AFC, and like that sucks for us. But it's nice to see those teams that start to struggle for as long as they have sort of come back. So we'll see how that goes for them. But Browns versus Colts. We're gearing here towards the end of the pod here. What is your prediction for Browns versus Colts?
Oh man, I want to put two predictions, but because I want one for Deshaun and one for PJ just in case. But in case if any scenario, I'm gonna go with 23-13 Browns.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much where I was gonna be as well. I don't think we're gonna score more than like 24 points.
Yeah.
So I'm saying Browns 24, Colts, I'll give them 13 as well. Yeah, I mean it's pretty much the same sort of predicted I had. Who do you think is going to be a anytime score for this game for the Browns?
Anytime score for the Browns. I mean, I'm gonna stick to the guns. I mean, I got two in mind.
Okay.
I have number one, the normal go-to Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
I mean, he had, I think it was like 5 catches. I guess
Four. Yeah,
four
four.
catches for 108 yards. By
Yeah,
the way,
4 for 108.
So
including that insane catch he had in the third quarter.
Oh god, yeah.
It was the most improbable catch of the season. He had like an 8.9% chance to make that catch.
And second of all, what a ball by PJ Walker
Oh
too.
yeah,
He put that right on the money.
So fun fact, before you continue, he actually talked to I think it was Brissett the day before and said, "Hey, do you have any advice with this team?" He goes, "If Amari beats his corner, throw it up to him."
Yeah.
So like that played a part in that throw. Was he just saw that Amari had beat his corner and he's like, "Throw it up."
And Amari he also saw that, I think it was the second quarter too, where Amari had that huge breakout run where he does it in the corner like right at the line.
Oh yeah, he put him on skates. Yeah, he put him on skates.
And PJ immediately saw. I was like, "Oh, there it is. He's wide open." And he put it right on the money. And I think Brissett gave him the best advice possible. It's like, once you see Amari beat his corner 1-on-1, immediately go his way. Like, you have to go his way. And he's one of the best 1-on-1 receivers anyway, or catching the ball anyways. Like, you saw he jumped over 2 fucking people and caught that ball and still kept his feet in bounds somehow, some way. Like,
yeah, that was so impressive. So, okay, you got Cooper as one. Who's your other scorer?
Again, I have like 2 people I want to say. The first one I'm going to say is, because I was going to go Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
And I was going to say my sneaky one, if it depends, and it's going to be the quarterback too. It just depends on which one's going to start. So I think Deshaun is going to get one, or if PJ plays, I think PJ can sneak in one.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. If I have 2 specifically,
but my main 2 are Cooper and Hunt.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think a little bit out of the box here. So my first one. So I'm gonna go wild on these. By the way,
I love it.
What the fuck?
No, I love it.
First one, I've been saying his name every week in Njoku.
I'm
I'm ready for him to score. I think this is a good game for him to do it. I think you need to trust your tight ends, especially with Harrison Bryant. I think he was questionable because he's been dealing with a hip. So I don't know if he is going to play or not. But I am going to look for them to go to the tight end, and I don't see why not. The second anytime score that I might have for us, I'm ready for this defense to get a pick 6.
Yeah.
I'm ready for a Newsome pick 6. I think Greg Newsome, I get it's either going to be Newsome or Ward, which it's usually Ward in that case. But regardless, yeah. So but Newsome is the only one that does not have his first pick. I'm rooting so hard for him to get a pick and then get a pick 6.
Now he's upset because Martin Emerson just got his first pick of his career, and he's like, "Well, damn it! Now I need to get one."
and that's kind of my thought process here is like, hey,
extra motivation.
We'll let him get it. So yeah, I might put that as a bet and just like put like $2 on it and just see if it hits.
It's probably plus 1,000 odds or something crazy like 2,000 odds.
But like,
so that $2 is gonna be like 20. That $2 is gonna be like $50 or something.
It just makes sense. It makes sense with Gardner. Gardner's not a bad quarterback. I really thought he was like the Dollar General version of Baker. Like he kind of had that same attitude and everything. Like he was a likable dude for a lot of people, especially when he was in Jacksonville.
I
And
figured
then,
he's gonna be like an Andy Dalton of the NFL, like a
yeah, he
Joe
will be.
Flacco,
He will be.
like a normal like, oh, I'm like an everyday starting quarterback, like I'm a franchise quarterback, but like I'm just like very low key, like very just like
Yeah,
I'm good enough to be like a
Josh
franchise
McCown.
quarterback. Yeah. I'm good at I'm good enough to be a franchise quarterback, but
Yeah.
not good enough to win like Super Bowls or shit. Even
Yeah.
though Flacco did, but
Yeah, but I know he struggled last week, and obviously this defense is as good as it comes. Yeah, I am gonna pick the Browns defense to have a pick six or something. Like it's either
a
gonna be a
fumble
pick six
six.
or a fumble, but I guarantee the defense, or not guarantee, but I do think that the defense is gonna score this week.
Oh, should we do Ohio State Penn State predictions?
Yes, 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 yes. What do you think? Go first.
I think it's gonna be a high powered game. I think it's gonna be a shootout type of situation. I'm gonna go with like a 36 to like 30.
Okay.
I think it's
Yeah,
gonna be high
that's
scoring.
so I expect this to be kind of identical to I don't know if you recall this game. This was I think that was 2017 because it was when they still had Saquon. That
Yeah.
shootout game that we had with them where freaking I
Was it the
think it was
JT
Barrett.
Bear fourth quarter game where
He threw like 3 scores in that fourth quarter alone. And it was
yeah,
all just nuts. Like he literally carried us. He was literally perfect at after struggling the entire game.
we were down
I
like
can
was it
I
like
can see a game
24
like
to
that.
yeah, we were down like what 24 to 14 or some shit, and he just came and just threw like 3 straight tutties like right
I
off the
think we
rip.
were down more than that, to be honest. Like we were down a good bit because I mean, if you have to score 3 times, you got to be down a good bit. Because I think
Yeah,
the final score was like 39-38. I don't expect it to be quite
yeah.
that high, but your little prediction of 33-30 is kind of where I was going to lean. So I'm actually going to say 38 to 38-28 for me. I think I think Ohio State is going to really show the country that they are indeed one of the best, if not the best teams in the league right now, especially on the all the offensive side of the ball, and obviously with Burke being out, like
Mhm.
it's they're definitely going to score a good bit on us. But I am looking for this D line to wreak some fucking havoc, and I think it's going to happen. So that's what I expect. We'll see though. We got another
We'll
what
see.
hour and a half because it's a noon game, right? It's at
Yeah,
noon.
it's a new game. Yeah, so we got an hour
Ooh
and a half
man,
till kickoff.
yeah. Which I have to run to my mom's after this to go grab some more stuff, and then hopefully I will be back just in time to watch at least
I,
the first half.
I will be watching the
Interesting.
game. I'll be watching the game on the car right down to Columbus.
Literally just like on your phone. Like that's
Yep,
the
just
best thing
watching it.
about having dude, that's the best thing about having YouTube TV. Shout out to YouTube to TDV. We're not even sponsored, but
Now,
I
I
freaking love
wish.
having it. I love having it. F Peacock though. I hate that crap. I know you have it, but F it because I missed that game
I
last
heart
week because I
Peacock
didn't have
because
it.
I
Yeah.
heart Peacock thanks to the Premier League. I love you, Premier League.
Yeah, dude. Hate it so much. So annoying.
It's only good if you watch it for the Premier League. That's it. It's only good if
Right.
you watch the Premier League
Yeah, like
because there's no
nobody else
commercials.
uses Peacock. Yeah, like nobody else uses Peacock.
I think the
So
only thing
it's
I think that people were pissed off about Peacock is like they'll play like 2 commercials and they'll just say like, "What? Like thanks for watching Peacock" or something, and then they'll like finally cut to the game or something. So I think that's why people hate Peacock. But I mean, I love it just for the fact that like I can watch every Premier League soccer game. Like I get to like I'm about to do it right now after this podcast. I'm about to turn that bitch on and watch some
oh yeah,
Peacock, watch some
absolutely,
soccer. So, but nah, I can't wait. I'll be watching the Ohio State game on the way down to
absolutely.
Columbus.
I see you got your OSU on. I got my my comfy Lake, you know, Lake football. Shout out to Lake. I know
Prepping,
they won
prep,
last night.
repping the Buckeyes before the big
Uh,
game.
Trust me, I'm gonna switch up to it. I was literally just wearing this morning it was the first thing in sight, and I was like, "This is
Also,
clean. I'm fine." Doubling
Ohio
it up.
national
Yep.
champions 2014, baby.
Man, that was such a great year. My lord.
Oh, such a great year. Shout
That
out to
was
12 gauge.
dude. That was such a fun run of games too, because Zeke went off every game. He ran for over 200 yards and 2 scores each game for that final 3 game stretch. That was unbelievable. I
shout
don't think we'll ever see that again.
Shout out to my boy 12 Gauge too, and we're
Yes.
coming in for JT Barrett and Braxton.
Yeah, dude. Because Braxton was out that whole year
Yeah, Braxton was out the whole year.
because he got hurt after that Clemson game,
Yeah,
the previous year before that,
and
and then
then
JT was a freshman.
yeah, JT was a freshman. Then he got hurt in the middle of the year.
Well,
And
no,
then
it
it comes.
was no, he so JT got hurt at that final Michigan game
Yeah,
in like
that's
the
right. The
third
final mission.
quarter.
Yeah,
And then 12 gauge literally got thrown into the Big Ten championship game, and we were like, "Hey, we are just going to use his insanely big arm to just throw it deep to Devin Smith every game and just run
every
the hell out
game.
of the ball." And we
Yeah,
did it every year. But that's when we had Boza, and we had like an
we had Joey Bosa
incredible,
at that point.
yeah, and I think we had Lattimore and all of them
Marshall,
too
yeah,
at
that was
that
the year we
time.
had Marshall Lattimore. I think Denzel was a freshman too.
Yeah, like we had such a stacked lineup. We were
That team was
guaranteed.
that team was insane. It was just a nasty ass team.
Like I really don't think I like truly appreciated that
That
team
team enough.
throughout the season because of JT. But JT was incredible that year too. Like I'm pretty sure he was breaking like school passing records. He was there for fucking 5 years. So like, of course, JT is gonna have like our leading passing yards and all and all that stuff because he was there for so damn long. It's like Trace McSorley or something.
Yeah.
He was just there forever.
Who would have thought that Cardale Jones would have led us to a national championship?
Oh, dude. I mean, nobody did, but like
No.
that's what made the year after that, which I went to a game at that time, 2015, and that was
Yeah.
when JT was still hurt, but then Braxton was a halfback, and then we used Cardale, and then they started using JT again because Cardale was just not doing it. It was that was
No.
such a weird deal,
Yeah, because
such a weird
Cardale was
year,
like balled out the year before, then the year after he just wasn't doing shit. Then that's when we moved like Braxton to like a wide receiver role, and
and he killed it, dude. Like
he
he
killed
was
it. He was a great receiver.
killing it. Do you remember that first game against VT?
The spin
And
move,
he does the Madden spin move from hell and just I mean took the
broken dude.
he literally took the life out of VT that game. Like
Dude, that was
because they were
insane.
fighting us there and
Yeah,
we just
I was
like
watching
after
that.
that it was game over.
I was watching that game in a computer lab at college, and because my buddy was doing the schoolwork, and I was like just watching the game while he was doing the schoolwork because he just wanted someone to hang out with, and so I was like, all right, I'll go with you, and I was just watching
Right.
the game on the computer. I'm like, and I'm just sitting there like, there's like 6 other people in the computer lab just like trying to do like their engineering shit, and I'm just like sitting there screaming. I'm like, oh my god,
Yes!
get Bryson Miller! I was like,
Dude,
what the fuck?
it was so funny last week when when the Browns beat St. Fran. My buddy's down downstairs on his computer doing his thing, and he's like, "Dude, did you just break your keyboard?" I was like, "No, dude, I'm clapping. I'm pumped up right now. Like we are getting ready to beat them." And then as
Yeah,
soon as we missed the field, or as soon as Jake Moody missed that field goal, I was like, "Oh my god!" Just started freaking the hell
dude,
out because there was no chance.
I was at the peak of my sickness on Sunday too, so like
Oh
I was
man,
trying so hard to scream during when the Jamie.
you're like,
I was like, let's go, and I was like,
"Ah!"
I drank like my 10th cup of water, glass of water that day
Mhm.
too, just so I could have like some kind of energy. And I was like, oh, let's
Oh
go. Like,
my god. Yeah, my brother like FaceTime me like right as soon as they were getting ready to line it up because during the drive he's like, man, this isn't good because we gave up that the
you
huge
should
play to
play IE.
Ayuk and he
Yeah.
just kept throwing it and I was like, fuck, they're getting ready. And my brother's just freaking out. He's like, damn it. Why are we here? And I'm like, just wait, just give it a second. Like we're fine. And then they start slowing down. Field goal, go, like goes up, and we were both just live reacting. You're like, oh my god! Like,
By the way, if I don't know if you noticed too, but San Francisco still had a timeout left with 40 seconds left, and they just let the clock would just wind down to kick the field goal. Like, why don't you just call timeout and then try to get
yeah,
closer?
it did make sense. That was
Like,
the
just use the
most.
timeout.
Yeah, like that was the most like Hugh Jackson thing I think he has ever done.
Kyle Shanahan. I don't think Shanahan realized he had the third and final timeout.
Bro, I literally think Kyle Shanahan is like scared of Jim Schwartz, like because
He
he's like
is.
1-9 against Jim Schwartz now.
Yeah, and I kept that in the back of my head. I was like, I forgot that he's like 1-8 versus Jim Schwartz, and I was like, this
Yeah.
is the chance for him to miss a field goal and just lose to Jim Schwartz again, and it happened. I was like, oh my god, it did it
We
again.
just own him. We just own him. But I mean, dude,
We
that's
own
what gives
Shanahan.
but like that's what gives me the confidence of this defense to just keep us in games all year round.
Yeah.
And like that was the thing that we didn't have. Like we always were able to score. It was our defense would just always break at some point. They would bend, but they would always break eventually.
And the best
And
part is too, I live like right next to the stadium, and so like if I have my window open, I
you
can hear
you can
just
hear
the roar of the stadium,
that's
and I'm
cool.
and it's like and it ruined it for me for the field goal because I heard it was ah, and I was
And
like,
you're
oh,
like, wait a second, wait a
I was like,
second.
wait a second. And it was like my TV's a little bit behind. I was like, and then the field goal miss. I was like, oh my god, let's go. And I was like, oh, I was like the stadium ruined it for me.
Now, I do want to make a little quick shout out to Nina. I feel really bad for her for last week
Yeah, Gina,
because we obviously beat her. But she was awesome to have, dude. That was
great
really
guess.
cool. I hope we can bring her on more.
Gina, if you're listening,
Hopefully at the
shout out
end.
to you.
Yeah, dude. That was a lot. That was a lot of fun. I know she's probably, man, I can't imagine what Same
She was
Fran's media.
she texted me. She was a good sport about it. She goes, "Congratulations!" She's like, "Well
Oh
deserved
yeah,
win."
yeah.
I was like,
I
to be
mean, I
fair,
expect that.
I was like, to be fair, neither team deserved to win that game.
No, it was such a sloppy game.
I was like,
That
it was
was
such a shit show. I was like, neither team deserved to win that game.
no, just end it in a tie and go.
I was like,
That's what everybody
that's
deserves.
one of those games that should have ended in a tie,
Yeah, but
which might have been
dude,
worse.
like, dude, if we thought Brown's Twitter was bad, I bet you Sam Fran's Twitter
Oh,
was
they're
horrible this
they
week.
were lit the fuck up. I went and checked it out, and they were lighting it up. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
I just wonder who they were blaming. I don't know
49ers
who they're
versus the
blaming.
refs. That's why I saw a lot. 49ers
Uh,
versus the refs. I was like, you're
you
5-1.
right?
Shut the fuck
Like
up.
you have no idea
You never been
about
a Browns fan.
versus the refs.
You've never been a Browns fan.
Every time we've ever played Oakland, terrible.
For some
Like,
reason, I was like, you mean you versus the refs? I was like, look at the spot that we got before they fucking reversed the call. They sat there and screwed us on the chains.
Yeah, dude, they screwed everything up on both teams, and it just happened to be just at the end. We really were given a few calls.
Yeah, we were given a few calls.
We know that. But we can't as fans control that crap.
No.
It happens, and it sucks as when you're on the other end of that.
That was the first time we've been on the opposite end where we actually got help, and it's like, oh my god, we got help.
Right.
Like
But
normally we don't get shit.
But it's like at the end of the day, the Browns locked down CMC. After that first series, CMC didn't go anywhere. Like we were literally getting him in the backfield every time. Like we physically injured him because of how relentless we were, and like that's what I expected out of him. So
you know, it's funny. I almost tweeted out that when Elijah Moore got drilled,
yeah,
I was like, I'm surprised that wasn't a pass interference call on Elijah Moore for just being in the way.
That's so true. That's stupid. Like that, man. That game was rough. I hope that the refs are a little bit better against the Colts because that was something, man. Oh man, well we have been yapping. We are at an hour and 12 now, so we are gonna go ahead and hop off.
Yeah.
But again, Andrew, it was good talking with you again. Hopefully next week you're gonna feel better.
I'm sure I will.
Enjoy your crew game.
I will.
And as always, we are the Just BSN podcast. Thank you again for listening.
Follow the socials in the description.
Definitely follow all of the socials. We got everything listed below. We've been doing the live stream thing. I don't know if we're still going to be doing that or not, but so far it's just been how we've worked it. But we are going to continue to try to change things as we go and just take any sort of feedback. So if you guys have any feedback, put it in the comments. We would love to.
Yes, please do.
So we're just continuing to try to grow, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Thank you guys. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Have a good day.